Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Reese Goodall and today I want to complement the last video on how you get the most out of lectures by discussing how you can get the most out of seminars. So what is a seminar? Well, normally it's you and a small group of however many is determined, with a tutor or tutors, and it's you having a chance to sort of dig into the topic at hand, to dig into particular sources, to dig into particular readings that you've done, and a chance for you to sort of ask questions, to engage in questions, to really sort of pull things apart in a more sort of collaborative way than you would ordinarily in a lecture. It's a good space to test out ideas, to try thoughts, and to sort of bounce ideas off your friends, your course mates, and the tutors themselves. And it's really, really useful. If you can make them work for you, then it really sets you off well. So what I want to do is give some advice on how I think you can make a seminar really effective for you. As with lectures, really, in order to get the most out of a seminar, you need to do prep work before you go in. And what that means, what does that entail? That means looking at any prep you've specifically been asked to do. Are there worksheets? Are there questions to prepare? Are there specific sources to read or to watch or to think about? Revisit the lecture if you can. Obviously, you'll go to the lecture beforehand. Are there recordings to watch? Have you taken notes that you can go over and sort of distill the key ideas? Engage with the sources, engage with the stuff that you're asked to engage with, definitely. Sort of the key stuff makes up most of the discussion, and thus that is the stuff that really sort of is where your focus should be in the first instance. But can you do extra readings? Can you do bonus readings? Can you look around the module? And then what I would also suggest is preparing ideas, preparing questions, preparing things that you want to ask, to think about. Sort of try and respond to the kind of questions that you think are likely to come up. And this is a skill that sort of you develop really with time. Some of the questions emerge logically from the lectures, from the worksheets, from discussions with the tutors, etc. But then down the line, thinking about how you can sort of raise questions that are interesting, that deepen your understanding and enhance sort of your own thoughts and opinions and ideas about a particular work, a particular theorist, etc. Then it comes down to a question of what you do actually in the room itself. And it really helps to have a sense of the seminar, by which I mean, is it going to be a space where you have to do lots of group work? Is it going to be a session where the tutor will sort of talk to you and ask you questions? Is it going to be an area where you get to do presenting, where you can do practical things like preparing mock answers and preparing introductions, arguments, etc.? Have a sense of what you're specifically going to be asked to do, and you know, good tutors will tell you this in advance. A good prep work will tell you this in advance, and then try and join in. And it's sort of, I know it's a hard thing to do. And the idea of throwing an answer out, throwing a thought out, not knowing if it's right or wrong. Fundamentally, that doesn't matter. The seminar really is a space to try out ideas, to test arguments, to test ways of thinking. And it's a space and really that process of engaging proactively really helps you. It means you get to essentially present an idea, present an argument, present a thought in the same way that you will in assessments and in later work. And that's really the skill that you're practicing. It's not about sort of knowing all the details necessarily, although obviously if you do, that's brilliant. It's a sense of sort of really sort of being able to lay out ideas, to sort of respond to prompts, respond to sources, respond to resources, and sort of shape your own way of thinking. And try not to think of it as it's a question of getting things right or wrong, but it's a question of building your sort of critical skills, building that ability to communicate and present arguments effectively. And I'm really of the view that a good part of this is sort of how you respond to others. There will be a seminar tutor or tutors who will sort of lead the discussion, who will present questions, who will present topics, ideas, etc. But they want you to debate, they want you to test ideas, they want you to bounce stuff off them. And similarly with others in the room, when they talk, do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? In both cases, why? Are there arguments? Are there things in the primary source and the secondary sources that you could use to support your way of thinking, that you would use to contradict their way of thinking or to argue with their way of thinking, I should say? And then people, the tutors, your classmates, will come up with ideas that you'd never thought of. They will come up with different ways of seeing particular examples, particular readings, that will you might think that's amazing. So note them down. Note down things that sort of leap out at you. Note down the enriching things that other people are saying, as much as your own thoughts. If you come up with something brilliant, note that down as well. Um, it's really sort of a collaborative space. It's the lecture is you broadly being told something, being presented with something. The seminar is the space where you work with others to develop, to refine, to challenge, and to critically think about these things and really get live feedback as you do. What I would say is, as someone who has led multiple seminar groups and multiple teams, is be honest with the tutor. Is there stuff you don't get? Is there stuff that you can use the time to develop, to build on? We tutors go into sessions with plans certainly, but we like it when the students steer the discussion, when they ask questions, when they sort of come up with interesting things that they want to talk about, because normally that is where the richer stuff comes from. So don't be afraid to sort of try out ideas. Just because it's not the question that's on the worksheet, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Really, we want the interesting original stuff to come out. We want to hear the perspectives. We want to hear what you're seeing in texts, which is fantastic. And it can be useful sort of down the line when you're approaching sort of essays, for example, when you're approaching assessments. Use it as a space to test your ideas, get live feedback in a space that isn't going to be marked, you're not going to be sort of judged. You can develop things. If you want to write an essay on a particular topic, go to that in the seminar and sort of try it out, see what works, see what sources come up, see what arguments develop from it. Seminars are good spaces for you as a student to steer the discussion, and so really try and take advantage of that. Then my last piece of advice comes at the end of the session. So take the notes, take the things that you've taken from the seminar and combine them or put them somewhere with the materials that are associated with the lecture, with any notes that you've taken about the sources or the readings, and put them all in one place, combine them and sort of, can you enhance the lecture materials or your own notes with the stuff from the seminar? Can you connect any of this lecture stuff into the seminar stuff, sort of make it all part of one pot while it's still fresh in your mind? It's really useful to sort of have that. What you have with the lecture and the seminar is essentially two perspectives of the same topic, and it's where you can sort of see the connections, where you can sort of see what is more of interest to you, where the sort of the good ideas are, and where the things that speak to you are. And doing that while it's all fresh in your head is, I think, a really, really useful way of approaching it. So there you go. These were some of my tips on how you can get the most out of seminars and how you can make seminars work for you. And this is, of course, a non-exhaustive list because everyone will do it in a different way. But really, it's a question of sort of trying to proactively engage with what the tutor does, and trying to make it, steer it in ways that are intellectually stimulating for you. But really, it is an environment where you get out what you put in. So I really encourage you to give it a go, to sort of put your head above the ramparts, to speak out, and in that sense, sort of try and use it as an opportunity to learn more, I think. But this is my advice anyhow. Hopefully this has been of some use to you. Please feel free to leave comments below if you have any other tips, any other suggestions, any other advice that works for you. Otherwise, in the meantime, please like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, all of the YouTube stuff. Thank you very much for listening. If there's any particular ideas you'd like me to engage with in the future, please let me know. And otherwise, thank you very much for listening. I'll see you all in the next one.